Well, hey everybody, 650 Eve here. Welcome home to the channel. This is the second episode of our reviving my 2015 Yamaha R1M series. And the guy holding that camera is Zak the Master Mechanic. He is working on this bike. And in today's episode, we're gonna try to get this thing running and try to figure out why it sounds the way it sounds and why it sometimes just sporadically shuts off on us. So I've got these buttons here that replace the stock buttons, and this red button brings it to life, and then this gray button usually starts the machine up. Sound very good.
No, it doesn't sound very good at all. Well, that's probably not great. I think we can get that fixed up though. Sounds like it's running on about 3.5 cylinders, yeah.
I'm freaking scared, Zach. You think my engine's blown?
I don't know. No, I don't think your engine's blown.
Okay, thank you.
No, I think we probably need some fresh fuel and some fresh spark plugs. So we'll get to that later on, and scope out the airbox. Who knows? You might have a little friend living in there.
Oh no!
But yeah, otherwise we got the MXR up on the bench here. Weird problem. So if you look at this foot peg, makes that awesome noise, flicks back into position. Let's check out this foot peg.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know, either the spring jettisoned itself off or vibration cracked it or something, but we got a new spring, so we're gonna pop that on. Nothing big, and then last time we were working on it, we found out a stone must have gone through. Look at all the little plastic.
Yeah, a stone from the tire of Michael Knight's bike.
Must have shattered your turn signal, so we got a fresh turn signal here, so we're just gonna pop that stuff on real fast and then tear into the Yamaha.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna go back here, because our new bike build series, season 13 machine, our 2024 S1000RR is a filthy mess.
It still looks good though.
Yeah, it does, it's beautiful. Yeah. But one of the reasons why it's been so filthy is because the weather here has been horrible, super cold, but today it's somewhat warm.
Yep.
So I'm gonna take it outside and give it a nice bathing with some Motul products.
Yep, and then we'll bring it back in and polish it up so it's not sitting there looking so sad.
Awesome.
So let's see what, the spring looks super easy. Let's see if it really is. Looks like, so one end's long and one end's short. Okay. Kind of has this kink in it.
Oh.
And we're just gonna hook on to there's a hole here. And then I probably need a pair of pliers, and we're just gonna hook it onto the foot peg.
That's all it was, man?
That's all it was. That's why, I mean, it could have caught on something and gone shooting off.
Yeah. Amuse me and tell me how expensive this spring was.
We'll have to look.
Okay. I'm gonna guess $25.
Okay.
There it is.
Back in business.
Nice.
Doesn't look like that's adjusted. No, can't put any more tension on it or anything, so it is what it is. But I could see something. I mean, it wouldn't take much to pop that spring off of there, you know?
Yeah.
Or could have just cracked. Let's take a look. That spring is, oh, it's not too bad, $8.94.
Okay, not bad.
Now the turn signal is $96.31.
Wow, jeez.
All right, turn signal gone.
Nice. Okay. If it wasn't broke, it is now.
It is now, freshy. Out of the box. And into position. But that's nice to know, because sometimes when you bump these, they'll knock out and it'll wind up falling out. Yeah. And it would still be screwed in, but it winds up sitting like this, like if you bump into it in your garage. So you can pull this screw out and then just reseat it and put the screw back in. Okay. A lot of times they like to put a nut here, so you can't. You wouldn't be able to do that. You'd take that screw out and then the nut would fall and you'd never get it back in. So it's actually kind of a nice setup. All right, so we got the R1M up on the bench. Let's see why it sounds so pathetic. I'm gonna guess it has something to do with the fuel inside this gas tank.
Oh, how's it smell?
It doesn't smell so hot. Doesn't smell terrible, but
yeah,
it's getting towards that varnish stage. Bike looks great, thanks.
Oh yeah, it does. Just cleaned it up.
The sheen came back on the wheels even. I thought maybe they dulled out a little bit. Nope.
Yes.
It's back. They were just dirty.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're right, man. And we're going to be giving this bike away real soon, guys. We have a few more parts to install onto it. from our good friend Miami Manny at Moto Million, and then one of you outstanding people that supports the new bike build series using this link will possibly win this motorcycle.
And then, since we've been rehabbing this Yamaha, we got this other idea.
Yeah.
We're like, what if we could help someone else and like rehab their bike?
Yep.
So then that turned into, how can we do this? How do we find a person with a bike? And then who do we get on board? How can we get parts? So we talked with Manny, and Manny's like, you know what, I'll help you guys out. We could do an S1000.
Yep.
So now we need to find people that have an S1000.
2010 through current.
Yeah, that want to get it back up to snuff, and then maybe a little 650E blinged out.
Yes, that's right.
But to do that, you're going to have to get over to Patreon, because you're going to need to be a patron.
Yep.
And get yourself signed up.
And then send me a message on Patreon. Tell me your story. Tell me why you think your S1000 2010 through current should be 650E blinged out. I'll read all the stories, and then we will select a person, pick up your bike, bling it out, and deliver it back to you.
Yep, show you all the cool new features we put on it, and all the maintenance. We're going to get it right back up to factory snuff, and even better. We got to do fork oil, we're doing fork oil. We got to check valves, we're going to check valves, you know?
Yep.
If you got a hole in your motor, I don't know if we're going to be able to help you out with that one, but we'll see. There's a chance, you never know. Maybe we got a motor that has a hole in a different spot. We can switch. But now, right now we're going to find out if this thing's blown up. But no, I think that's a sweet idea. And so definitely, and it's kind of like there's 2 giveaways in one.
That's right.
When you head over to Patreon.
Yep, you
so
have
get
a chance
over there,
to win this one, or you could possibly get your bike blinged out.
Follow the instructions on the website and become a follower and a patron. And you'll see, then you have a chance for that, and get a hold of Ebe. Maybe you'll wind up with a fresh S1000. But first, let's get this gas out of here, and then we're gonna go in and check the compression, make sure our engine is in good health, actually. That's a good idea. There we go.
Oh.
Right. Good thing you weren't standing too close.
Yep.
Grab that though, pretty impressively light.
Oh yeah.
All aluminum.
Light. Yeah. Wow, still a little bit of nasty.
Just a little bit, yeah. We'll have to turn it upside down and get that out of there. All right, moment of truth. Nothing.
Nothing's in there, thank God.
Some dirt.
Oh yeah, thank goodness.
And, ooh, we got a Sprint. We're already on Sprints.
Okay.
Look at that.
Is it filthy?
Yeah, we got some bugs. Is that an olive in there? I don't know.
I'm just glad it's not a mouse in there, jeez.
Yeah, no mouse. There was one, didn't we have one bike that had a mouse problem in your garage?
Yeah, we did. My old house.
Yeah. But this sat at the old house.
That's why we moved. I didn't want to have to move again.
I think that is an olive. That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why you picked that up. Well, these are cool, so they're oilless. So all we got to do is wash this out with water.
Okay.
And blow it out, we'll put it up by the heater and let it dry. Also cool is how big this airbox is, and looks like it's not going to be too difficult to get off, because underneath that's the valve cover where we need to get to for the spark plugs. Doesn't look like we put any stacks in here, but it does have the movable velocity stacks for keeping your mid-range and giving you more top-end power.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. Doesn't look too bad if you look down in there. A little brown in color, that's just from the stale fuel, but no black or soot or anything in the throttle body, so that's good. No giant carbon buildup on top of the intake valves. If you look in this one, you can see the intake valves are actually open. You can see a little bit of the piston. Those ones are closed. Closed. These ones are open. Hard to tell though. So that's good. No mice. Air filter isn't overly dirty. Airbox is off. Pretty easy to work on. That didn't take too long, right?
Yeah.
We got all this secondary air stuff, which I'm surprised we left on. But of course we did it just to be emission compliant. Otherwise, you could get block-off plates and not have all these hoses. All right, so we got the secondary air hoses out of the way. Now we can remove what's called a coil pack. So back in the day, you used to have a big coil that would look something like this motor right here, and then you'd have spark plug leads going off of the coil. This is your spark plug lead and coil all in one. These have been around since 2008 or something, even longer on cars. A lot of times if your car has a check engine light and the codes for a misfire, one of these failed. Somehow these are pretty good in motorcycles, except for a batch of S1000s in like 2022, had a bunch of bad ones, but they're way stronger in motorcycles than cars. I don't get it. Yeah. I've had these fail on cars, and I mean I had a Volkswagen GTI, they would fail like weekly. But like I don't get why. They're a lot cheaper in cars. This is probably $300 for one.
Wow.
Where your car you can buy like 4 for $45. Maybe that's the difference. But some cars are expensive as well. I'm sure if you got a BMW car or something, it's expensive.
Look at that.
These are simple ones, just 2 wire.
Yeah.
So once we remove them, the spark plugs are right below there. Always want to blow air down in your spark plug hole while the spark plug's in it so that we don't get anything in the engine. Sometimes it comes out with the socket, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, we'll just fish it with a magnet. Get it out. And you can see it's wet and black. So that's neither of which are a good sign.
Yeah.
When the spark plug's wet, the spark won't jump from the center to the metal electrode because it goes to the moisture instead.
Okay.
And black just means it's fouled, it wasn't burning. So good thing we got new ones. Let's look what the fresh one looks like. Just for reference. Nice.
Yes.
Happy spark plug. It's a nice spark plug. NGK LMAR9E-J.
Okay.
All of those mean something. I don't know off the top of my head.
Right.
There's a chart. You can look it up. Some of it's the length. One of them means that there's the 2 electrodes. One is how long that is. One is how long this thread is. One is how long the insulation is. But I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So we got 3 more to go.
Are you expecting all the other 3 to look in that bad of a condition also?
I would bet like 2 of them are probably gonna look pretty good just because it did run, but it definitely at least 1 more is gonna look like that. We want them all to be just about the same, like 5% max difference.
Oh, look at that one. That's horrible, right?
Yep, it's almost exactly the same, really. Got a nice comparison there. What do you like better on the clutch setup? 2-tone or all 1?
Actually, I don't know, man.
I like the 2-tone on the M. I really feel like that sets the M apart.
It does.
That was a good call by Manny.
Yep.
Oh, look how wet this one is.
Ooh, let's see.
Oh, and this one's got like a bent electrode. That's not good.
Oh man.
See how this one's like a different shape? Wonder how that would have happened.
Let me zoom in. There we go. Now it's.
That usually means there's some kind of contact, which would be really bad. Hopefully that's not the case.
Oh.
Maybe we changed them and someone dropped it on the way in. We'll go with that. Yeah, they all look pretty bad.
Yeah.
Good thing you got new ones.
Yes.
All right, so now we're gonna hook up what is called a compression tester. We'll need one of these adapter hoses. Here, I'm gonna sneak behind you, Eve.
You got it.
We got some bench space here. So we line up one of these adapters. I'm pretty sure it's this one here. Common 10mm. Got the same thread. And this is specifically for the longer spark plugs, as you can see. So we're gonna thread this down in on number 1. Hopefully it's not too wide. If not, we have other adapter setups. I think we're good. Always wanna be careful when threading this in that you don't cross thread it, because that'll make for a long day's work.
Yeah.
Those threads are way down there. So just snug that up. Once that's snug, we can get our actual compression gauge. And that just has an airline type quick connect on it. And then a bunch of numbers, which is gonna tell us the PSI, pounds per square inch, that is being made in our cylinder. So when the piston's going up and down, the valves are closed, it has to compress a bunch of air. It's gonna tell us what that is. And the spec is usually given with the engine warm, wide open throttle. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it on. It should crank over. We don't have any fuel, so that's good. We don't have any spark. And we're just gonna crank it over, and as we crank it over, we'll see this needle move. So it kind of stopped at 180. So this we're gonna call, yeah, it made it right to 180. We'll call cylinder 1 180 PSI.
Okay.
We might need to put a little jumper pack on for our battery. It's sounding sad. We'll see what happens, because we do need the same speed for this to be an accurate test. Pretty much made it back to our 180. It's right there again.
Yep.
And definitely the same speed. Got to 180 and stopped. That's good.
Yep.
So far, so good. That was the one that had the slightly questionable spark plug, so that's good. It probably means it's in decent shape. So then if we had a cylinder that didn't have the same reading, like maybe it only said 150, our next step then is to put a leak down tester on it. What we got to do for that is we'd have to pull the valve cover, put that cylinder at top dead center compression, and then I've put air into that cylinder, and it should hold the air because it should be perfectly sealed or have minimal leak down. If it leaks a lot of air, then we can then listen to see where the air is leaking. Is it coming out of the exhaust? Is it coming out of the intake here? Or is it coming through the crankcase? If it was intake, it'd be an intake valve, probably a valve out of clearance. The exhaust, same thing, exhaust valve. If it's going through the crankcase, it's the piston rings. So it just points you in a direction. Very helpful diagnostic tools. But hopefully we don't need to use the leak down tester. Hopefully our battery doesn't die. Make it. I mean, that's close enough. It's 180 if it was able to crank.
Yeah.
So if you have a Yamaha and you need some service information, Yamaha has this awesome website. It's kind of a pain to find. If you type in Yamaha owner's manuals, not service manuals in Google, you'll get to it, but it's this library.ymcaps.net. When you get to that, you just put in your search information, you search by VIN or whatever, and it brings up like all their service manuals in PDF form, no viruses, easy to use. And
free of charge?
And they're all clickable. Like if when I go to adjust the front fork, I just click on it. So all the hyperlinks work. Like that's pretty awesome. All right, so in the service manual, went to the engine specifications and found out that the standard compression pressure at sea level is supposed to be 206 PSI. So we're kind of well short of that, but it's supposed to be at 250 RPMs. We weren't anywhere near that 250 RPMs, so I'm not concerned about that. And then it also gives you a minimum maximum. So our max compression spec would be 231 and our min's 179. So we're right over the minimum. We're good to go. And that's really just because it's cranking slow. Also, with that kind of bad fuel, when you see spark plugs like that, that gets in your piston rings and that can like stick the rings so you don't get good compression. So once we get this thing firing, warmed up, if we were to truly do another compression test, I'm sure we'd be closer to that 206 if not on it. I was more so wanted to see them all the same. They're all the same. I'm fine with that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on, put our spark plugs in, torque them, clean our air filter, put it back together, put fresh fuel in and see how it sounds. That sounds more like it. No smoke pouring out of the exhaust. Doesn't stall. Yeah, so I think it sounds good. Prove that the engine is not blown.
No, thank God, right?
Compression was good. But that's good. Nice little health check. Got it cleaned up. We know the air filter's clean now. So we'll move on to doing some fluids next time. Get the brake fluid and engine oil done. And then hopefully the wheels and tires will show up and chain and sprocket.
Yes.
And we will be on our way. We just got to find some lights.
Yeah, we got an exhaust coming too, Zach.
Oh, okay.
A different exhaust.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking at
It's had this on it for a long time.
Yeah, the Krapovich exhaust. I like the exhaust, like the one that we used on our build bike previously.
Yeah, I don't even really remember. Aren't a lot of them short? Don't a lot of them end here?
Yeah.
Does the Krapovich or is it
long?
No,
it's a full one.
It's a full one?
It's beautiful.
That'll be nice. So, yeah, the Yamaha is on its way back to life.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, keep watching. We're not done yet. We're, in fact, just getting started. We got rear sets coming too, Zach.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can't believe this bike never got rear sets.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
It's going to have them soon. So keep watching, guys, and thanks for viewing.